First up are the Portland Trailblazers. Besides the annual trade Dame conversations, Portland can have a very different team compared to last year. The team had an overachieving start to the season, even though Dame was in and out of the lineup. The Blazers were looking like a solid playoff team. After the first quarter of the season, they dealt with injuries, made some moves during the trade deadline, and finished the year tanking. It's really a shame since Damian Lillard was playing some of his best basketball once he was more consistently in the lineup. The Trailblazers were fortunate in the lottery and got the third pick in the draft. This pick can seriously impact the future of the team, and Portland has an important decision to make. They can trade it to bring in another all-star or use it to begin the rebuild. In my opinion, I think it's best to reset the team and move Dame. The best case scenario is this. Portland trades the pick and Simons or Sharp to Toronto for Pascal Siakam. The team makes some moves, trades Nurkic, and signs Jeremy Grant to an affordable deal. What is that team's ceiling? Losing in the second round? Is that best case situation better than restarting with Shaedon Sharp, Anthony Simons, the third overall pick, and the assets you'd get from a Dame trade? I think a better question is this. How many teams are willing to get Dame? Most teams are in one of these three situations. They already have a point guard, they're a rebuilding team, or they would want Dame but don't have enough assets to get him. For the past couple of years, the teams that have been possible trade destinations for Dame have brought in new guards. While some of those players could be on different teams this offseason, there's not really a contending team with a whole lot point guard that can realistically get Dame. If you have any teams in mind that could get Dame, let me know in the comments. But even if Damian Lillard does not get moved, I think what will happen with the third pick can be really interesting. Next are the Brooklyn Nets. When I look at the Nets, they remind me of the Utah Jazz after they traded Gobert and Donovan. The reason I say this is because of how many great pieces that are on this team that can be traded. So many players on the Nets could get serious playoff minutes on contending teams. While Utah only made a handful of trades during the season, Brooklyn has much less time. Looking at the contracts of Brooklyn's players, not many are signed for long term. There are 6 players on expiring contracts, including important pieces like Nicholas Claxton and Spencer Dinwiddie. Cameron Johnson can decline his qualifying offer, while Seth and Utah are free agents. There are only 3 players signed up to the 2024-2025 season: Ben Simmons, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Mikal Bridges. Also, I get the feeling that Cam Thomas will be traded soon due to how inconsistent his playing time is. Another big question is how Brooklyn will handle Ben Simmons. How confident is the team in Ben now? The Nets are in no man's land. They are good enough to be an above 500 team, but not good enough to make serious noise in the East. And if they want to make a big win-now move, the last 2 times Brooklyn made win-now moves, it blew up in their face. What is the direction of the Nets? After trading with Brooklyn for Kyrie, the Mavericks are another team I think could have an interesting offseason. The biggest question revolving around the Mavs is if they'll re-sign Kyrie. The Mavericks are in a tough situation, but I think the team should bring him back. After trading for Kyrie, a fine Mavs team took a nosedive, finishing 9-16. The team controversially tanked the last games of the year and now has the 10th overall pick. As I said in my Predicting NBA Awards video, I'm not really a draft guy, but I think it makes sense for Dallas to either trade that pick for a win-now player or pick a young guy to pair with Luka. I don't have any specific names for either possibilities, so let me know if you do in the comments. There have also been plenty of Kyrie to the Lakers rumors, and while I think Kyrie likes the idea of reuniting with LeBron, I don't think the Lakers would want to do that deal anymore. What strengthens my belief is the Shams tweet that claimed Kyrie attempted to convince LeBron to join him in Dallas. One thing we know for certain is Kyrie wants a max contract. That's why he requested a trade in the first place. Kyrie wanted the max, and the Nets said no. Besides Kyrie, this Mavericks team is in such a weird spot. Dallas is the team I have the hardest time pinning down what they can look like. The biggest need for the Mavs is defenders. Dallas finished 24th in defense this year, while last year they were 6th. Losing Dorian Finney-Smith was a big part as to why their defense dropped so much, and I think Dallas wants to bring in some new great guys like Dorian. There are some pretty good defenders available this free agency, and I wonder if any of them could possibly sign with Dallas. A player I'd really like to see play off of Luka is Jakob Poeltl. He wouldn't fix all their needs, but Jakob is an excellent interior defender that can be fed in the paint on offense. But in all honesty, this team's current status is so confusing, I don't really know where to start. The Mavericks really struggled to bring in players to complement Dirk when he was in his prime, and I hope the same doesn't happen to Luka. My 2 biggest questions for Dallas are, will they keep Kyrie, and will they be able to play defense next year? And I can't give a confident answer for either question. The Pheonix Suns are the next team I want to touch on. When Pheonix first traded for KD, I thought that if the Suns had a good offseason, they could definitively be the best team in the NBA. But so far, some of the moves they've made have left me really confused. The Suns fired Monty Williams and then replaced him with Frank Vogel. It's pretty funny that the Suns made a coach their scapegoat and then hire a coach who was also scapegoated. The team had a massive change at the trade deadline, and I think it was unfair for Phoenix to fire Monty, who only coached KD for 19 games. Something that really interests me is what the Suns will do with Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton. I had to rewrite my Chris Paul segment 4 times, so I'm kinda irritated, but like I said for Dame, not many teams are in need of a point guard, especially not if they have to pay $30 million when they're nearly 40. If he does get cut or bought out, I think teams would be interested, but his contract right now plummets his value. The other part of my question is what will happen with Ayton. I think DeAndre leaving the Suns is extremely likely. Ever since Game 7 versus the Mavericks, it seems like the relationship between Ayton and the rest of the team has changed since their finals run. Not to mention how he was basically forced to rejoin the team after he signed with Indiana. Because of how he's still viewed as a young talent, how it seems like he wants a bigger role in the offense, and because his contract is too big to bring in depth, the Suns should trade him to one of those mid-level teams that want to make a win-now move. The Suns are too top-heavy, and they have to make some big changes to improve their depth. But let me know what other teams you think could have really interesting off-seasons, and please do all the typical YouTube stuff, as it lets me know what types of content people want to see more of. A lot of new duos can be formed this off-season, and in this video, I listed 10 duos that almost happened. Did you know that Kevin Garnett wanted to be a Laker?